In this particular audio, I discuss about storage classes in C language. It is very important topic actually. So sometimes when you go to interviewer will ask you to select topic of your choice. I always tell students the best topic in C language is storage classes. You select this particular topic because if you select storage classes, I think you can discuss for at least 20 to 25 minutes or 30 minutes. So that interviewer will be under the impression that you have explained so many concepts. So that's why the best topic to select when it comes to C programming is storage classes. Now try to understand what is the meaning of storage class. It is very simple. Whenever you declare a particular variable, so where that variable will be stored. So that particular value of the variable where it will be stored. Only two options. Either it can be stored in CPU registers. Either it can be stored in CPU registers or it can be stored in memory. When I tell memory, I don't talk about hard disk, I talk about RAM. So it is primary memory. It is primary memory. So I don't talk about secondary memory. So in computer science, it is very simple. Most of the times, if people talk about memory, that is RAM, primary memory, they don't talk about hard disk, secondary memory. If at all, if they are really talking about secondary memory, they explicitly tell that I am discussing about secondary memory like that. So now you can come to the conclusion. Memory means RAM or primary memory. So here storage class very simple. If you declare a variable, either it can be stored in CPU registers or it can be in RAM, that is memory. So locations in computer where value will be stored. So CPU registers or and memory, only these two places. Now, apart from these two things, what it all the storage class tells. So, where the variable would be stored. The first point I already discussed. So, only two options. Either it can be CPU registers or it can be memory. So, memory means RAM, primary memory. Second point is very important. It will help you in most of the code snippets. Well, what will be the initial value of the variable if initial value is not specifically assigned? It means what is the default initial value? Very important. So see, there are four types of variables. Automatic, I think I can say there are four types of storage classes. So automatic storage class, register storage class, static storage class, and external storage class. So this I can tell automatic storage class means local variables. Local variables are also called automatic variables. Means variables which are declared within a block, opening and closing flower braces. So it is considered as a block. So once upon a time in TCS interviews and all, they used to ask, what do you mean by block? So whatever you write within opening and closing brace, so it is considered as a block. So here automatic variable or local variable means whichever variable you declare within a block is considered as a local variable or automatic variable. And register variable. So if you declare some variable with the keyword register, for example, register int I. So then this is considered as a register variable. Register variable means if at all, if register is free at that point of time, I will be stored in CPU register. So here register variable and local variable. So by default initialize to garbage or junk value or junk value. Static and global variables. So external storage class, I tell global variable. Global variable means variable which is declared above all the functions is called as global variable. So static variable and global variable by default initialized to 0. So what is the meaning of static variable and how can we use that static variable, and what is the meaning of global variable? We will see actually at the end of this video. Now try to understand. So local variable and register variable by default initialized to garbage or junk value. Static variable and global variable by default initialized to 0. Now the third point, again very important, what is the scope of the variable? Scope of the variable means if the variable is a local variable, the scope is limited only to that particular function. It is, scope means what? Say think of you are studying in a particular college. What is the scope of your principal in your college? Your principal can dictate terms in only your college. Your principal sir cannot go to some other college and dictate terms. So what is the scope of your head of the department? Only within your department. Your head of the department cannot go to some other department and dictate the terms. Scope of the variable means if the variable is a local variable, means it is defined within a block, it is declared within a block, then the scope is limited only within the block. And if the variable is declared within a function, so and if it is a local variable, it is the scope is limited only to that particular function. And the scope of the global variable is entire program, or even it will be visible to the other programs also. So I will discuss scope and life in detail when I discuss each of these variables actually. Automatic storage class, register, static and external. Now so what is the scope of the variable? In which functions the value of the variable would be available. So and what is the scope of the, what is the life of the variable? Means how long would the variable exist? So the scope of the, so life of the variable which is defined within the block is only within the block. Outside the block, the variable will not be visible. So it is very simple. Whenever you declare a variable, either it can be stored in CPU register or it can be stored in memory. Now we will discuss automatic storage class in detail. Now here let me explain automatic storage class. So when it comes to automatic storage class, it is a local variable. It is also called as automatic variable. So how to declare? It is very simple. Just observe here with the help of the keyword auto. Auto int ij. Auto int ij. So memory will be allocated to I, and memory will be allocated to j. And what will be the initial value? We have not assigned any value to I and j. So this I and j will be having some garbage value or junk value. Garbage or junk. Actually, these local variables will be stored in stack, but for my convenience, I have written like this. So garbage or junk value. So what may be the expected output? So you can expect some garbage value or junk value. So I and j. So you may get like minus 1567, okay, 2, and for j you may get like minus 73261. These are not standard values, okay. It's like we don't have any standard value as a garbage value. It's not defined, it's a junk value. So as the name itself indicates, it's a junk value or a garbage value. So auto is a keyword in C language. See, by chance, if you don't give like auto int ij, just if you give int ij, int I comma j, then the same meaning. Okay, so auto int ij or int ij, both are same, no difference. Okay, auto int ij or int ij, both are same. So moral of the story here, mentioning of the word auto is not mandatory. So here the storage, it will be stored in memory. Memory means RAM. So RAM means primary memory. Default initial value, unpredictable value. Unpredictable value is also called as what? Which is often called as a garbage value or a junk value. Scope, local to the block. Block means, see here, I told already, anything which is there within opening and closing brace is considered as a block. So, and life and scope almost both are same actually. So here the life is till the control is there within a particular block. Now, if you observe here, auto int equal to 1. So stack, the moment when control enters through this particular open brace, stack will be created. Stack will be created, and auto int I equal to 1, 1 will be pushed onto the stack. After that, control enters through this opening brace, this opening brace, this opening brace, printf percentage %d I. So you get the output 1. And after that, you come out of this, you come out of this, and printf percentage %d I. So again 1 will be printed. Then you come out of this, then printf percentage %di, 1 will be printed. Then actually you come out of this, and after that you come out of this, this 1 also will be popped, and the stack will become empty. The stack will become empty. So this is how actually it works. So the moment when we enter through a particular brace, stack will be created and the element will be pushed onto the stack. Now this stack concept will be very clear in this particular program. Now here also, the moment when control enters to this particular open brace, okay, stack will be created. Stack will be created. And auto int equal to 1. So 1 will be pushed onto the stack. 1 will be pushed onto the stack. Then control enters to this opening brace. Auto int equal to 2. 2 will be pushed onto the stack. And then control enters to this opening brace. Auto int equal to 3. 3 will be pushed onto the stack. Now printf percentage %d I. What is there on the top of the stack? 3. 3 is there on the top of the stack. So 3 will be printed. The moment when you come out of this opening, this closing brace, 3 will be popped. So 3 will be popped. So 3 will go. And now what is there on the top of the stack is 2 actually. So what is there on the top of the stack is 2. So now when you print this, printf percentage %di, the number which is there on the top of the stack is 2. So 2 will be printed, and the moment when you come out of this closing brace, 2 also will be popped. 2 also will be popped. Now it comes to printf percentage %di. Printf percentage %di. What is there on the top of the stack is 1. The moment when you come out of this closing brace, so this 1 also will be popped. Now the stack is empty. So you get the output 3, 2, 1. So moral of the story, all local variables are automatic variables. By default, they are initialized to garbage or junk value. And if you don't mention the word auto, still it is a local variable. So the mentioning of the word auto is not mandatory. Next, we will see register storage class. When it comes to register storage class, the variable will be stored in CPU register. The advantage, accessing is very fast, and default initial value, garbage value or junk value, junk value, and scope local to the block. So now all of you know what is the meaning of block. Anything which is there within opening and closing brace is called as a block, and life till the control remains within the block. So for automatic storage class and register storage class, these 3 points are same. Only thing is the first point, storage. When it comes to register storage class, the value of the variable will be stored in CPU registers so that the accessing will be very fast. When it comes to local variable or automatic variable, instead of storing it in register, the variable will be stored in memory, that is RAM. So RAM is also called primary memory. Now we will see one example for this register storage class. Now here I explain register storage class. So very important, and most of the programmers love this particular concept. Register storage class. Always keep in mind when it comes to performance, so register access is always very fast when it compared to memory access. Memory access means so accessing RAM. So I write here a simple diagram to appreciate this concept. If you dissect the computer system, you can find three major components. The first component is CPU, and the second component is RAM. So this RAM is also called primary memory. This RAM is also called primary memory. And the third component is hard disk. This hard disk is also called secondary memory. Hard disk is also called secondary memory. When you save any program, the program will be saved in the hard disk. So in the hard disk, these are the partitions. So think that this is C drive. So in C drive, you saved one program. So and the name of the program is 1.c. It's a very bad name actually, but Indians we love these type of names: A.C, B.C, Pinky.c, Tommy.c. But you have to give meaningful name. That is also very much like while giving the name, you should show your professionalism. Okay, now it's okay. So I just give the name 1.c, and now the moment when you want to here think of you declared one variable, local variable, so int a. Okay, so and now the moment when you want to run the program, this program should come from hard disk to RAM. The reason is you go and ask your CPU, my dear CPU, do you know that there is a hardware component called hard disk? It will say I don't know. Moral of the story, CPU doesn't know that there is a hardware component called hard disk. So the moment when you want to run the program from hard disk should come to RAM. The moment when it comes to RAM, the moment when it comes to RAM, we call it as process. We call it as process. So that's why sometimes we study in operating system, running program in memory is called as process, like that. Now here you declare one variable a. Here you declare one variable a. Now CPU should go to RAM to access that a. CPU should go to RAM to access that a. Instead of storing this a in RAM, this CPU has registers. See, the registers are like how we have hands. So in the same way, registers are like hands to the CPU. So there are so many registers. If you know 8086 microprocessor, or if you have studied 8086 microprocessor, you have seen so many registers there: AX, BX, CX, DX, SI, DI, SP, BP, CS, SS, DS. So 16 general purpose registers you have seen. Instead of storing A in RAM, is there any mechanism to store it in these registers, whatever I marked in green color? Okay, because these registers are embedded to CPU. So these registers are embedded to CPU. So instead of storing it in RAM, if you store it in register, the accessing will be fast. So how to store a particular variable in CPU register? Just with the help of the keyword register. With the help of the keyword register. There is a keyword called register in C language. So with the help of the keyword register, you can make that variable to sit in the register, CPU register. But here, one very important note you have to remember. By chance, if register is not available, by chance, if register is not free at that particular point of time, the variable will be considered as automatic variable or local variable. By chance, if register is not available, the variable will be considered as automatic variable and there will not be any warning message to inform you that register is not available. So, register int I is not an order, it is just a request. We are requesting CPU, boss, if register is available, store it in register, otherwise store it in memory. Now, next concept I will explain to you, static storage class.